Welcome into another episode of the UCLA Bruins Insider Podcast here on Sports Illustrated. I'm your host, Tom Cavanaugh, here from the Fans First Sports Network. And today we're going to be taking a look at two different sports. It's going to be a little bit of talking about three keys to the game for the men's basketball team as they take on Washington on Tuesday night for the first Big Ten game of the year. And then after, we're going to clean up a little bit talking about a former Bruin that is thriving in his third season in the NFL. Today is Tuesday, December 3rd. You can follow myself, Tom Cavanaugh, at TCAV30 on Twitter/X. Follow our insider pages at UCLA Insider on SI, both on Twitter/X and Facebook. And then type in UCLA Sports Illustrated in your search bar to find all of our daily content. First, we're going to start with three keys for Mick Cronin's group. They're 6-1 on the year, riding a 5-game winning streak, 6-0 at home, and that's where they're going to be on Tuesday night as they welcome in the Washington Huskies with the very same record of 6-1. Two teams coming over from the Pac-12 of last year, making their Big Ten debut. And for the Bruins, it's going to be a good test. They have not played as good of a team as Washington since they played New Mexico and lost in the second game of the year. So when you look at the three keys, first, it's going to be complementary basketball. There is not one single guy that is the absolute star of this team. When you look at the stat sheet, the Bruins have played 7 games, 5 different scorers in those 7 games, 5 different leading scorers in those 7 games. So they share the ball extremely well. And when one guy has a good game and he follows it up next time with kind of a rough showing, somebody else is able to step in and come up big. Whether it's Tyler Bilodeau going down and having 3 points, it's Eric Daly showing up for a dozen, or Dylan Andrews comes through, or Lazar Stefanovic. So much depth, so much experience on this team that they're going to have to kind of bounce off each other, find a couple players in double figures, and if your top scorers, the Bilodeaus and the Eric Dalys of the world, aren't able to really come through and post their averages, other guys have to come up big and make plays. Second is going to be rebounding, both on the defensive and offensive side. When you look at the Huskies, they rank 6th in the Big Ten right now in rebounds per game at 39 per. And then also offensive rebounding, something they do a very good job at. 13.4, just above the Bruins, who are ranked 3rd in the conference in offensive rebounding. When you look at UCLA, they gave up 10 offensive rebounds to Idaho State, and they gave up 13 to Cal State Fullerton. Those are two very small teams compared to Washington, not as physical, not as big. And if you're going to let Washington come in there and grab 12 to 15 rebounds on the offensive glass, it's going to be a long night for UCLA. So having guys like Daimara, Tyler Bilodeau, Eric Daly Jr. get in that paint and be physical and keep a great Osabor, who is the top rebounder for the Huskies, keep him and others out of the paint, they'll be just fine. Third is going to be turnovers. The Bruins, you look at their numbers, they've been better as the season has gone on. They're ranked tied for 7th in the conference, averaging just a tick over 11 turnovers per game. Now, that doesn't seem like an extremely high total. I mean, there's teams in the 14s and the 15s on average right now in the Big Ten, but they've also played the Bruins kind of a cakewalk schedule besides New Mexico. Playing teams like I mentioned, Lehigh, Cal State Fullerton, Idaho State. They just got done playing Southern Utah, who's actually a fairly good program. Those are teams that you can hone your skills and not turn the ball over against as much. I don't know if I can say the same about Washington. This is a team that plays well defensively, active hands. They have a new head coach in Danny Sprinkle, who has been notorious over the past several years at Utah State and Montana State at having good defensive teams. So you're going to have to really keep that number in the single digits. The last time the Bruins played a team of this caliber like Washington was New Mexico back in their second game of the year. They turned the ball over 21 times. That cannot happen. It has to be anywhere from your average to below 11, 10, 9, and that has to be like the maximum amount of turnovers that you can give up in this game because Washington, they're going to capitalize if you give them extra opportunity. So that's squared away on the basketball side of things. It's going to be Tuesday night at Pauley Pavilion. The Bruins and Huskies going at it for their Big Ten debuts. And then we're going to transition and talk a little bit about a former UCLA Bruin football player that is in his 3rd season, just had a really nice game for the Los Angeles Rams and did not travel too far after his college days to play professional football. That's a 3rd-year man out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, played 5 seasons with the Bruins. Quentin Lake, the safety. He is now a captain in his 1st year with the Rams, and he's had a pretty solid season. I mean, he's only gotten better as the years have gone on. His first year in 22, he played 9 games. Last year, 14, and he's played in every game this season. 92 total tackles, a couple of sacks. He's got 2 of them, 2 pass deflections, and a tackle for loss. Quentin is kind of the heartbeat of this secondary. Such a leader. You listen to other players around this organization, around this team that really talk about Quentin and his ability to coach them up and be a veteran. He's only in his 3rd year, but when you look at the Rams roster, there's so many different young rookie second-year secondary players that he's got to kind of assume that role early on in his career. So got to give credit to Quentin Lake. He was a 5-year player with the Bruins, and he did a really nice job over his years. 180 tackles, 6 interceptions, 15 pass deflections. I mean, the guy was stout. A very good player, was a first-team All-Pac-12. In his senior season, he led the team that year in passes defended at 21. Just an all-around gamer in the secondary, and it's really good to see Quentin make the Bruins proud and make himself proud by playing really well and being a captain on a really good defense for the Los Angeles Rams. This has been the UCLA Bruins Insider Podcast. I'm Tom Cavanaugh here from Sports Illustrated on the Fans First Sports Network. Appreciate everybody listening in today. We're going to have more for you tomorrow, recapping the Bruins and the Huskies from Pauley Pavilion in their first Big Ten matchup. Thanks so much, everybody. We will see you tomorrow.